Hello and welcome to the Metabolic Balance ANZ podcast stories. I am Cherry Wills, and this is where we share real life stories about metabolic balance and the experience people have with changing their diet and really bringing personalized nutrition into their lives. I am delighted to welcome Meegan, has done metabolic balance with Sharon Carius, one of our practitioners in Australia, and she's going to share her story with us. So, a big hello to Meegan.
Hi, Cherry. Lovely to be with you.
Fabulous to have you. And I am incredibly excited to hear, what went on for you and how you experienced metabolic balance. So, I believe that you started metabolic balance about this time last year. And I was hoping you would just share what led you to what brought you to metabolic balance.
Was probably a couple of things, Cherry. The initial driver was definitely the desire to lose some weight. So, that's what really brought me to the program initially. What I found once there was that there were enormous benefits for perimenopausal symptoms that I'd actually been managing for quite some time. So things like inexplicable anxiety, uh, waking up every morning at 3 a.m. It was once I was in the program that I realized that there were other benefits for me for that mid 50 perimenopausal uh, dilemma. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, how did you hear about metabolic balance?
It was actually through a friend. So I have a walking buddy. She was telling me about a girlfriend of hers who's around the same age, had had some really significant success with the program for weight loss. So she was telling me that the program did blood tests and found the right foods for your own body and for your own metabolism, and I liked the science sound to that. So I thought I'll take the leap and give it a go myself.
Awesome. So, you started around about this time last year, and you'd mentioned about that perimenopausal symptoms that had sort of crept in to your day-to-day life. Um, what was the key things that you noted that were really changing with that then?
So once I got going on the program, I did notice a real reduction in anxiety levels. So I had been at a point, and again, it's quite inexplicable given my history and of work and my experiences of work, but I had got to a point where it was difficult to even introduce myself at a meeting table. Uh, I would have to develop little cues for myself about how to introduce myself, which is ridiculous because, Cherry, I would sit at 6 meeting tables a day on some days. So I've noticed that that anxiety has gone. If I have to give large presentations or keynotes, I've noticed that the anxiety is far more manageable. And again, just inexplicably, I uh, would I would get anxious about having to drive long distances. So I think I mentioned before, I'm in my mid 50s. I've had my driver's license since I was 17. I'm an okay driver. I've got a great car. It just was, inexplicable that I would feel like this. And I'm feeling much more confident now about driving those long distances. So those impacts have actually been very, very significant for me, just in my day to day.
I think it's something that so many women can relate to. Also, just it's the feelings that we have, that anxiety. It's often is a symptom of imbalance, an imbalance in the neurotransmitters, the gut brain axis, the hormonal imbalance that just changes things. And can really throw us from being how we used to feel of just confidence and not even thinking about this to suddenly, where has that come from? And this isn't me.
Absolutely, Cherry. As I say, I have always been a pretty resilient person, always been able to tackle challenges, never had any sort of mental health issues, which is a real privilege because I feel for those who do. So for this to have come out of the blue and to have that level of impact was crippling at times. And the more I've read about menopause and perimenopause, I know that these symptoms are very, very commonly experienced because of that hormonal imbalance.
Yeah. And I think it shows, I mean, like you started Metabolic Balance, which is purely a food program. And we know that we get the side effects of releasing weight. I mean, that's why it's most well known probably as a weight loss program. But I think what you're really demonstrating wonderfully, and what I see every single day, is that it's a well-being program that brings the balance back. So we start to feel kind of normal again. It's the normality, isn't it, coming back?
Yeah, definitely. And you get the benefit of weight loss. So so that's good.
Yeah, absolutely. So how much weight did you lose?
I lost 12 kilos. So I was very, very pleased. Yeah, because it makes a difference to how you feel, how you move, how you can exercise. Um,
Some people could argue that that was one of the big things that is the difference you feel. You've got more inner confidence maybe coming through.
it wouldn't explain the anxiety reduction, though.
No, no. Well, I mean, I'm just probably playing, yeah, devil's advocate for those people who are a bit skeptical listening. I agree with you, obviously, because that's what I see all the time. But I like, if we like to get an independent observer view. Yeah.
Mm, definitely.
So, what have you been able to do since, like, when was the last time you were this weight actually in your life? Because you're mid 50s now.
Like lots of people, I'd done a pretty rigorous weight loss program for my 50th birthday, but the weight crept on. But I hadn't been able to achieve the level of weight loss, even when I was trying very, very hard for my 50th. Um, I think I lost 3 more kilos than I had with a different approach to dieting. So I think this has really taught me more about uh, inflammation and incorporating anti-inflammatory foods in my diet, which other programs I've done before just don't even reference really.
I think I mean, the longevity. I mean, you're here a year down the line, and everything is, you're feeling good. You've maintained everything, which is exactly what we want to do. Um, that's, I think, is testament as well to that we don't do a diet to lose weight. We do a program that gets you well, and then it should hopefully everything should just be balanced, and the how to navigate through day-to-day life.
Yes, my practitioner was very clear with me right from the beginning that it was a way of life, that it needed to be new habits, different habits. And I haven't found it difficult because what my practitioner was very good at was describing the science behind the program. So she's a very qualified practitioner who would write out the chemical symbols for me at different times and explain why that Oh, yeah. Why that coffee at 3 p.m. was increasing inflammation, or why that peppermint tea at 3 p.m. was also increasing inflammation. And of course, that's really surprising when you're not a scientific, I don't come from a science background, but it made sense. It made sense. And she gave me a good understanding and a good template for eating and living, really. So, you know, some good rules to follow uh, from now on.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're a busy professional woman. And how have you found that bringing in metabolic balance has been for you in that situation?
If I'm honest, it was definitely a challenge to begin with because it is that new habit forming. And not only do I work, but I have a household of teenagers and a husband as well. So uh, there are definitely some challenges. And because it's a way of life and because I'm feeling the benefits of it, I'm choosing to continue. And actually, it's not onerous. It's just eating unprocessed, wholesome foods. It's adding things that I have not historically included in my diet. So things like flaxseed oil and apple cider vinegar. Um, but actually, they're easy inclusions, easy substitutes. Uh, and because of the blood tests that I had right at the beginning, and I know the choices that are best for my body, it's just now easy. It's like a script, really, that I just follow when I'm shopping. And sometimes that does mean that I'm eating a different dinner, particularly to my family, because for me, my blood test said that the proteins that I should eat at night should only be eggs, goat's cheese, or fish. Um, they're not always, that's not always appealing to the athletic male household members that I share a house with. But actually, it's an easy substitute for me. So I probably eat a lot more fish than I have ever done historically, and that's okay. So, if they're eating a different protein, I just have fish.
I think it's interesting finding the proteins that are right for you because some people don't get any fish on their plan. I think that's probably important to, just to quickly share. That I have seen plans that come back with very little fish. So it's interesting that your plan does have, a lot of sort of, it has, does have fish mentioned. And I think, again, it's that whole finding the balance and substituting where you need. And doing things that really make you feel good so that you have a great day the following day.
Mm, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Actually, it's interesting you raised that issue about different plans. When I had my walking buddy who recommended the program, she was clear about the proteins that a friend of hers had included, and they were pretty limited. Mine have been quite extensive. So clearly, there is that science and uh, that understanding of what individual bodies need, which I've really appreciated as I've gone along.
I think it's just this realization that's slowly coming into the field that healthy food is healthy for an individual, not for them everybody. So what's the right food to fuel me? It's not necessarily going to be the right fuels that fuels you, for example. And and when you really sort of break it down, it's a kind of a bizarre situation that we're recognizing we're also unique, but with still this standard recognition idea that we all eat the same kind of foods. Well, that just doesn't really make sense, does it?
No, not at all. Not at all. Well, when you get it right, it definitely works. It definitely does work. And it's been interesting having implemented the program into my way of life. I read, I'm interested now when I see articles about inflammation and water and what you should have to keep yourself healthy. And I think others are picking up elements of the program as well. So I was reading just last week about the benefits, of an apple a day, and it's because of the chemical makeup of an apple. you learn about the benefits of having anti-inflammatory foods like blueberries. So that's another thing I eat a lot more of nowadays is blueberries. I take turmeric now for those anti-inflammatory benefits. So it's funny when you start reading because you're interested in how others are advocating for similar sorts of things.
Yeah. So how do you see things panning out in the future? Because we want obviously everything to nicely continue. Maintenance is all about really maintaining things.
Mm. Oh, I'm sticking with it. I I know enough about myself that I need to be accountable to not just myself at times, but to others. So I had my 7 appointments with my practitioner. I decided to book another 3, and I'm booking a yearly check-in. So whilst I feel it, yeah, yeah. So whilst I feel the benefits myself, while I want to be accountable to myself, while I don't want to cheat, I also know that having to go to Sharon every December is going to keep me really, really honest. So, but that's just because I know that about myself.
Yeah. Yeah, it keeps you nicely grounded, I often say. You still have this idea, I've got a nutritionist.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. And what struck me about my practitioner was she is a scientist. She's always looking for the contemporary evidence. Even in the time that I was seeing her, she'd been to different lectures that were talking about the benefits of vitamin B and magnesium and what have you, and she would share those lecture outcomes with me. So I can see that the evidence is always evolving as well. So it's in my interest to make sure that I'm keeping up with everything that's contemporary.
Do you think that that having the practitioner was one of the key elements to your success with the program?
Oh, definitely. Yes, yes. So, my practitioner is particularly infectious. She's got a lot of energy. She did ensure that external accountability. So I think the program references as a coaching, which it is. It is coaching. Um, and it's quite something to stand there and have your waist measured and your thigh measured and, you know, your hips measured each time you see them. So there's definitely the accountability to them as practitioners as well as the accountability to yourself. And there's a bit of magic that reinforces behavior when you see the numbers dropping like you do. So it's a good thing. So definitely Sharon was a key.
Yeah, Sharon is fantastic. I think the key, just to share, just everything is done also based on what's right for you as a person. We don't have to do measurements each time if that's not what somebody wants to do. And again, this was motivating for you, hence it was a great thing to do. But when you're really working with somebody one on one, you can actually really work in the way that's the best for you and not just one size fits all. Um, because it's a key element that MB is a coach-led program.
Yes, and please know that was definitely the sense I had from Sharon. She could see the motivation for me in that drop of numbers, but I'm really confident that she would have gone at other people's pace or what motivated them as well. So I felt very supported by her. She was a good coach.
Yeah. Dr. Funfact, who's the founder of MB, he was always, it's his founding principal idea that people need the support. So we're not a diet that people just buy off the internet and okay, all right, do it yourself. That's not going to work. Whilst you can get the great data, you can get the great information, maybe that way, as in this is a food list and this is your menu, the menu plan, which is calculated for you. It is the coach that brings it to life and makes it really doable.
Absolutely. And just being able to explain things in a way you understand and point out when you might have done not quite the right thing or just put you back on the right track. Um, so, yeah, no, definitely a very important part of the program.
So, if there is a perimenopause woman listening, a menopausal woman who is going through this brain fog and this anxiety and the sleepless nights and feeling not herself and the weight creep, what would you say to her?
Oh, do it. Just do it because you will feel so much better in actually a relatively small amount of time. So, I I started the eating program on the 1st of October, and by the 4th of December, I had pretty much reached my goals and was feeling so much better. So, my advice would be do it, give it a try. You will feel better. You will.
Just get the balance back. That's all it is. It's not actually, you don't have to take any, you don't have to take any medications. You don't have to do any strange um, interventions, anything like that. We're just talking breakfast, lunch, and dinner, aren't we?
That's right. It's no strange potions. It's no, absolutely not. It's just eating really, really well, and it's eating in a way that suits your body makeup, and your age and stage. So, I would definitely recommend it. There's certainly some vitamins that get recommended from time to time, but not. It's things like vitamin B and magnesium and turmeric. It's not anything that's difficult or tricky or highly expensive or anything like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And that is the, Sharon's, expertise in guiding that. So, yeah, amazing. Thank you. Thank you so much, Meegan, for sort of sharing your story. I'm delighted to hear that you're focusing on carrying on as well, because that's always my goal. It's my goal is always to hear that we really do. Let's just bring people into being in a place where they can look after themselves. They know what to eat, and they're not dependent on anything to buy or change. They just look. Your shopping cart does the work for you.
Absolutely. Yep, absolutely, Cherry.
Yeah. Amazing. Thank you, Megan. And if come back, share further in 5 years' time. Let's hear how things are going.
That'll be the year I turn 60, Cherry. So there you go. We can do that.
Exactly. And isn't it nice to think that you're moving towards your 60s feeling good.
Absolutely. Yes. I want to be able to move and feel well as I near retirement because, there's a whole world out there to enjoy once you're retired. And I want to do it as well as I can.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you, Megan.
Thanks, Cherry.